We always say that what you see is what you get, but is that really the case? In fact, when you have a problem that needs to be solved, there's usually more than meets the eye. So before you can think of a good solution, you have to start by reframing the problem and looking beyond the first layer. So here's how Beeplab use design thinking to guide our Queensway Secondary School students to create value in action by reframing the problem. Sometimes we look at the problem, but we always think that we need to attack it with a solution. But problem reframing sometimes is just for us to reframe and take a step back and understand the bigger picture of what are the interconnected issues we might actually get to the root problem, and the solution will kind of appear before us.
The problems that students will face in the future will be very different. Problems are more complex, things change very rapidly, and so we shouldn't be teaching students to answer questions of yesterday. We should be asking them to answer the questions of tomorrow.
First step of Dig Deep is to define and discover the issues. And the next step, as we define and uncover the issue, we go to the second step, which is to investigate. And part of investigation is also to interview, to find out, to have dialogues and conversation. And as we have conversations, we then take to the next step to generate ideas out of these conversations. And the fourth step, as we generate ideas, is to take some of these ideas being discussed to develop them into possible prototypes. That prototypes will lead to the next stage, which is part of the experimentation. And as they try and error, that forms the next step, which is to evaluate. Are we reaching our objective? Are we doing something that's useful? And then finally, the last step is to present it, to share. What would be a good project if it's only kept within ourselves, but we didn't share with others, right?
I think the workshop really brings a lot of things to the table. There are a lot of problem-based questions that students have to tackle. They are actively participating in the workshop and shows them different perspectives that they can take as an individual. And so when they take this back into the classroom, they are more willing to throw out their ideas and to share on their perspectives on things.
Sometimes we get stuck on a problem that we can't move forward because we can't come up with a good solution. But all it takes is to dig deep into the problem and peel back all the different layers one by one.
I've heard of the word problem reframing before in D&T lessons, but I really didn't know what the meaning was. And after this session, I learned about the word problem reframing in depth.
Problem reframing to me is putting myself in the shoes of those who probably get bullied so that I would know how they would feel.
I learned that problem reframing is breaking down a problem into little parts so that I can understand the problem fully and look from different perspectives to generate a feasible solution.
And once you have defined the problem, investigated the micro and macro processes that cause it, and gathered all the data you needed, it's much easier to see which part needs to change and what's the best way to change it. Think of it this way: if you're not just trying to solve a problem, but you're creating a new behavior, a new habit, a new understanding, and a new way of life. And that's how problem reframing helps you to change the world one layer at a time.